First, it is a privilege and an honor to be with each of you here today. If you would have told me a year ago that I would be saying a speech in front of people and tell them that I had beat stuttering, I would have called you a bold-faced liar. I was born in the early 60s, that's 1960, on a rural farm in South Carolina. I had a mom and a dad and a baby brother 3 years younger than I was. My mom told me that I started stuttering when a brat came home from the hospital. I secretly heard her tell people that it was a way of me getting attention. My very first bad memory was the first day of school. We were not required to go to kindergarten at that time, so I started interacting with other kids in the first grade. My teacher called on me to tell the class about myself, and I couldn't even say my name. Kids were rolling on the floor laughing, and it was so embarrassing. It was terrible. We didn't have much money at that time, and speech therapy wasn't common. And my form of therapy was going to a lady's house after school and sounding out words, along with babysitting her kids while she was cooking supper. My teen years, I started thinking about stuttering 60 minutes during every hour. I hardly said anything at all. I got married at 17 years of age, and I will not say any more about that, but I had a family at 18 years of age. My anxiety was beyond measure at that time, and I could hardly say any words at all. A friend of mine got me a job at the Coca-Cola plant here in Sumter, South Carolina, filling up all the drink machines at a local Air Force base. I always had a hard time saying my name, but I also wore a name tag. So that was a little trick that I had. When I couldn't say it, I was always pointing at my name tag. I worked at Lowe's Home Improvement for many years, working from a floor sweeper to a zone manager. The assistant manager in position, and it came open at that time, and I felt like I had the job because I trained almost everyone in that store, and there was at least 150 of them there. And they called me in one day for that job interview, and I asked them before leaving, I said, when will y'all post who's going to get that job? And they said it'll be sometime next week. So I got out of my chair and I left, and I went to lunch. And after and returning and from lunch, my wife at that time, she was at the front of the store along with a good friend of mine who also worked there. And as I was going inside the store, he told me, he said, "Hey, buddy, you better calm down before you go upstairs." I said, "What's up?" He says, as I was going upstairs, I could see they've already named another guy for the job that I thought that I was going to get. And he didn't have the skill set that I did, not even half the skill set I did. And my friend told me, she said, "I hate to tell you this, but it's because of your speech impediment." And that hurt me very, very, very badly. I resigned 2 days later. I'm sure that many of you have had those similar things and to happen to you like mine. During that time, I got a divorce from my wife of 27 years, and my speech got worse. Life moved on, and I remarried. I came up with new tricks to hide my speech impediment. I was working at finance companies talking on the phone and making the awful God-looking faces you ever seen on the other, the phone line, And I was making house calls and repo visits. I was working for several companies doing this, and I had a reputation of making people pay, if you know what I mean. I had several concussions, a broken hand. I got beat with several baseball bats and bit by a large pit bull on the orders of his owner, and the list goes on. I saw an opening at a local car dealership for a finance manager. One of my childhood friends always told me, he says, if you could get a job at a car dealership, he said, you would make a lot of money. So I applied and I got hired. I came to work on the very first day, and the guy asked me, he said, have you ever sold cars before? And I said, no. He said, if you want to, let's go ahead and sell cars for a few weeks and get the feel of a salesperson's life before you go in the finance office. And I said, okay. So I sold 2 cars the very first day, and the rest is history. I never did go into the finance in the department for that dealership. I took my knowledge from the finance world that I already had to help people who couldn't get a job previously, a car previously, I meant to say. Something's coming in on my earset. I had the know-how and the patience of helping them now. I excelled greatly. My speech improved, and during that time, I didn't know why. I was loving what I was doing, and I was speaking with passion and joy. Of course, I had hiccups and still use that. Has anyone ever heard of that before? Passion and joy? I'm sure that you have. But mid-2017, I was getting very tired easily. I was also blacking out and starting to have hand tremors. Making a long story short, I was diagnosed with atypical Parkinson's multiple systems atrophy. It's a rare Parkinson's disease. My case is aggressive, but I worked until mid-2018 until the doctor put me out of work. I went a year without any income, and a flood destroyed our home. We can't get flood insurance where we live, and we never worried about it because it never did flood, but things happen. I'm now getting disability, and my wife has been teaching for almost 20 years. We live in a 2-bedroom apartment with our 14-year-old daughter. But I must tell you, I am a man of strong faith. I believe that each and every one is put here for a reason. In August of last year, I was going through some books on Amazon Kindle and Lee's book, and it popped up. I got a free sample and said that this book might help me. So in a few weeks, I ordered it and started reading it. By Christmas, I was almost 50% better. I started Skyping with Lee in March, and my speech started to improve dramatically. I posted my success story in May. I am now training to be a coach for SAC. I have a hiccup every now and then again, nobody is perfect. No one is, but we must present ourselves as not having a disability. My suggestion is if you are now starting this process, you are in the right place. Nothing else works. However, you have to do it. The code cannot work the system every day. I never did find my purpose in life until a few months ago. I was put on earth to help people with speech anxiety problems. I really do believe that. I don't know how much longer I will be here on this planet, but I am dedicated to serve the people that want to gain fluency.